Yes, indeed, a blessed and a beautiful afternoon. Good afternoon to all God's people. Welcome back to Friday Reflection and Prayer Time. And thank you for taking time to spend a few minutes with God's Word and a time of prayer. You know, it's amazing to know that how long we have been praying for the current situation and reality. And God has been so faithful, and we praise God this afternoon. I want to read some verses from the Old Testament and also New Testament. 4 verses and 2 from Old Testament and also 2 from New Testament. And I want to focus on just one word. Nehemiah, it's an Old Testament verse, Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. The joy of the Lord is your strength. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Then Psalm 47, verse 1. Shout to the Lord with loud songs of joy. Shout to the Lord with loud songs of joy. Then moving on to the New Testament, Pauline letters to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 16. Again a familiar verse. Rejoice always. Rejoice always. Then again Pauline wisdom to Philippians chapter 4 verse 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. What are some of the joyous occasions? I'm sure that I can make it an interactive reflection and prayer time. You know, when Christmas comes, we sing that great hymn, Joy to the World. 95% of the churches, at the end of the Christmas Eve service, this is the song, this is the hymn, Joy to the World. When New Year comes, we look for new opportunities. There is so much of joy for New Year celebrations. Easter, almost 1.5 months ago, or almost 2 months ago, I should say, April 12th was the Easter. So 2 months ago, we had Easter, Christ is risen. So there is so much of joy about the resurrection of Christ. In November, as always, Thanksgiving service, Thanksgiving celebration. There is so much of joy. Those are Christmas, New Year, Easter, and Thanksgiving. They are all religious festivals that brings joy to us. Then there are some family-related celebrations. Weddings, they bring joy, not just to the couple, but the families, the congregation, the relatives, the neighbors, the friends. When babies are born, you know, when you talk about wedding, then the following thing you talk about is the babies. Babies are born, then there is so much of joy. A new life has arrived into the world. Birthdays are celebrated, there is joy. Wedding anniversaries and some joyful and joy-filled and joyous occasions. Graduation. This is the season of graduation. Even yesterday, our granddaughter Addie graduated with 4K. Religious festivals bring joy to us. Family-related celebrations and occasions bring joy. But I want to share this afternoon in the next few minutes about joy being viewed or perceived by some saints and scholars of the past. There are so many wonderful articles and books written about joy. When I was looking for a different perspective of joy, Christian joy, or joy in our lives, I came across this man, a great a theologian, a great priest, a Lutheran pastor, Paul Tillich. He was born in Germany, but later on he moved to United States, and eventually, I vaguely remember, he died in Chicago because he was married to an American. So he's always referred as a German American Protestant theologian, a great man of God. And he wrote an article, The Meaning of Joy. His name was Paul Tillich. And this is what he said, or I would say that the summary of the article titled The Meaning of Joy. Joy, quote, joy is a quality of life that we experience when we are really ourselves. In other words, we don't duplicate anybody else. We don't pretend to be somebody or someone. It's a quality of life. It's my quality of life. Oh, well, here is my understanding of what do we mean by quality of life. I think this is what I would say. What is my quality of life? Life satisfaction. It begins with life satisfaction. It is about the well-being of myself. It's well-being of my health, well-being of my emotions, well-being of my family. And also I find a sense of meaning and purpose in and for life. I think that's what this is, the combination of all the three. What is Sam's quality of life? Life satisfaction, my well-being, that includes everything, myself, my family, my church, my ministry, my gifts, my neighbors. Then having a meaning and purpose for my life. A combination of all the three. This is what I would say quality of life. So I wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, let's say, go to bed at 10 or 11. So 12 to 15 hours when I go to bed. I don't do that, but it's a healthy practice. You look at the quality of life the past 12 to 15 hours. Did I have a life satisfaction? Did I enjoy the health of everything? Did I find meaning and purpose in my life the whole day? 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours since I woke up. Now I'm ready to go to bed. Paul Tillich, the Protestant German American theologian and a pastor, would say, when you feel that you had a sense of purpose in life, you found the meaning today, you had a sense of satisfaction about your life and ministry and your service, you had a pretty good, healthy life the whole day. That is joy. That's what Paul Tillich would say. Joy is about the quality of life Well, all the things that we talked about, Christmas brings joy. But this joy comes at the end of the day when I say goodnight to somebody and go to a time of rest and sleep. I feel a sense of satisfaction. And that is the joy, according to this great scholar and a pastor. I have read and studied a little bit about Saint Ignatius of Loyola. I'm sure that some of you have read and learned about him. A great Roman Catholic priest, and he was the founder of the Society of Jesus. And if you know a little bit about the Roman Catholic tradition, it's a great tradition. And Saint Ignatius of Loyola was born in Spain, but later on moved to Italy, Rome, Italy. He was the one who founded the Society of Jesus. And if anyone becomes member of the Society of Jesus, the members are called Jesuits. I'm sure that most of us, we have come across Jesuit priests. So you have different kinds of priests. And why did he start this Society of Jesus? And he started recruiting a lot of people into the society, and they were commissioned as Jesuits. When you come across someone, a Jesuit or a Jesuit priest, immediately you can conclude that this person must be highly mission-minded. So in other words, in those days, but even today, only the Jesuits were commissioned to go as missionaries, particularly to other countries. For example, I love this great saint, Francis Xavier, who was a Jesuit priest and commissioned as a missionary to go to India as per his choice. And he came to the western part and southern part, and he worked among so many people, and he established so many churches in the western and southern parts of India. And he was buried in a place called Goa. And so Jesuits, who are the members of the Society of Jesus founded by Saint Ignatius of Loyola, they are called to be missionaries. In 1540, the Pope himself approved the Society of Jesus, meant to evangelize people all over the world. And today I believe more than 110 or 120 countries have the Society of Jesus. That means missionaries. So going back to our word joy, quality of life, Saint Ignatius of Loyola would say that joy means you get something out of a service that you offer to someone. For example, when he started sending Jesuits, the Catholic missionaries, mostly to other European countries, the first thing the Jesuit missionaries did was they established schools, colleges, and theological seminaries. And we should be ever grateful to the Roman Catholic Church. All over the world, they maintain an excellent standard, quality of education. So, in other words, these missionaries went to different countries and established schools, colleges, and seminaries for the sole purpose of hundreds and thousands of students will be educated, and they gain more and more wisdom through education. And that is the real joy of those missionaries. So the joy is kind of eternal. You know, Christmas just brings joy in the month of December, but whereas the missionaries who established these schools and colleges and theological education or seminaries, just imagine how many thousands of students they graduate from these institutions because somebody established that educational institution. And that is the joy. And that's what, Saint Ignatius of Loyola would define joy. You do something and your service will last forever. It keeps on producing fruit. So mission is service. When we get engaged in some kind of a mission, we experience joy, and we share the joy with others, not just today and tomorrow, but that joy continues. When you keep hearing, oh, this year, 95 students graduated from this college. That was established by Jesuit missionaries, and these students have no clue who they are. But there is a joy. There is a joy. And that's what joy means and joy implies. Even when I was thinking about these Jesuit missionaries, all our churches have mission committees, right? Making a lot of impact in the lives of people, in the lives of community. Maybe mission committees should be called Joy Committee, because they give joy, they share the joy. There is one more person I want to talk about. Some of us, we know this person, C.S. Lewis. If you know the Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis was the author of the fiction called The Chronicles of Narnia. He was a British writer, and he was never ordained. He remained as a lay person, but he was known as a lay theologian, British lay theologian. And he had the reputation of teaching English in two renowned universities, both Oxford and Cambridge. He was a professor of English literature at Oxford and Cambridge University. This is what he said about joy. Joy is not excitement, because excitement stays for a while and then it disappears. Joy is not pleasure. Joy cannot be compared with fun. Joy cannot be compared with happiness. Because excitement, pleasure, fun, and happiness, they stay for a while and disappear. And after they disappear, then we want more. But joy is staying with you forever. He uses two illustrations. I should say two analogies. He says joy is an anchor. And also joy is a root. What is an anchor? I don't know much about anchor. All I know, anchor is related to a ship or a boat. It is a tool. It is a tool made up of metal. It is very strong iron tool, and it is connected to a ship or a huge boat with a chain. And once the ship or the big boat reaches the shore, or even sometimes during the storm time, they place this anchor into the water, and it goes very deep, very deep. And it holds the vessel, or the ship or the boat in one particular place. But the boat or the ship, I have seen, the boat or the ship, because of the waves, it keeps moving here and there. It may be going here and there, but it does not drift from the shore. Whether it is wind or the water current or the storm, it is shaking. It is going here and there, maybe a few nautical miles, or nautical yards, I should say, not miles. But it stays there. The anchor is holding the ship or the vessel at one particular place. C.S. Lewis would say, joy is your anchor. Joy is your hope. Anchor, in the scripture, it is a symbol of hope. It is a symbol of strength and security. It is joy. And also C.S. Lewis says that joy is like a root. Very similar concept of the anchor. What is a root? A huge plant or a huge tree. The root, which is invisible, but it holds the tree together. But it supplies the water into the branches, the leaves, and other parts of the plant, other parts of the tree. And also, knowing a little bit about botany, not so much about the science, I know the roots also store the food for the future. Maybe that's why Nehemiah says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Friends, we are still in the middle of calamity, crisis, brokenness, pain, indifference, segregation, so much of segregation among the humanity, peacelessness, and other setbacks and challenges. I invite us, before we go into a time of prayer, I invite us to reflect on the word joy. It's a quality of life. That is joy. It is within us. Somewhere it is within us. Joy, it does not come, but it keeps prompting us to do something for others, service, and that will have lifelong impact. It's not just a few minutes, but it should serve the humanity, serve someone lifetime, so that we can remember and celebrate. And what we celebrate, Saint Ignatius of Loyola would say, oh, what you celebrate, that lifetime commitment, that lifetime service, lifetime impacting service. That's what's called joy. Joy is our anchor. That is our strength. Maybe that's why Paul told the Philippian church and Thessalonian churches, rejoice always. Have the anchor. Experience the root. Then only the crisis can be overcome. Let us pray for joy of the Lord, which is the source of our strength. As always, I want to read the 15-point COVID-19 prayers, and then I will lead a time of prayer. These are the prayer points for COVID-19. Eradication of the deadly virus, progress in effective treatment, suffering of our normal work, isolation at home, stay at home and its implications. Our youth and children have lost a lot of learning opportunities for months. The summer has begun. The amount of pain involved, needed resources, economical resources, medical resources, science-related resources, academic resources. Let us also pray for people who are trying to attempt to take their own lives because of high level of stress. Healing and recovering of all the patients, and particularly the COVID-19 patients. The gift of technology and social media that is available for us to be connected. The top priority of the entire humanity worldwide is flattening and suppressing the curve. Unemployment and poverty, lack of supplies. Recovery of economy of national and global scale. Healthcare systems and all those who are part of the healthcare systems. Their protection and their well-being, their quality of life. Preparing our church for the storm and the calm. In the last couple of weeks, we have added the situation in our nation right now based on racial discrimination and so much of segregation based on race, nationality, and ethnicity, and a peaceful situation across our nation. And I want to say a prayer from this book. I don't know whether you are able to see the book, the Upper Room Worship Book, and there is a section called A Liturgy for Midday Prayer. A Liturgy for Midday Prayer. And I'm going to follow that liturgy this afternoon. Jesus, our Savior, teach us your ways. Our hope is in you all the day long. And God is with us, and we are with God. God of mercy, God of grace, this midday moment of rest is your welcome gift. Bless the work we have begun and make good its defects, and let us finish it in a way that pleases you. Grant this through Jesus Christ. Lord of all eagerness, Lord of all faith, whose strong hands were skilled at the plane and the lathe, be there at our labors and give us, we pray, your strength, security, and hope in our hearts, O Lord, at the noon of the day. We read in Psalm, those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you. In returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and trust shall be our strength. Strong, our strength is the love embracing us, and faithful our God from morning to night. Amen. Once again, thank you all for joining me this afternoon for the reflection and prayer time, Friday noon. And the God of strength, the joy of the Lord is our strength. So God of strength be with each one of us today and every day. God be with you until we meet again. Bye now.